Okay, so I'm back from a pretty awesome day, and I had plans to do this recap video. I'm not very good at these, you may have already realised. I was supposed to do one last night and I didn't get in here until about 5:30. So by then it was a bit dark. What time is it now? Oh, it's actually about 6 o'clock now. So I must have got back here a little bit later yesterday. It must have been about 6:30. It was too dark anyway. And I'd had a massive day on the motorbike. So the last thing I wanted to do was to sit down in front of a camera like this. So I ended up going out for dinner, and I think, this morning I did a little recap at Treeton Market. So I've woken up this morning in Treeton and I'm at the market. I came here looking for something, well, mainly for a coffee at first, but then I met a lovely lady who suggested that I had the local specialty, which is bun nucleo. And they've given me a coffee as well, which has just knocked my socks off. I'm pinging right at the moment. Yeah, that's where my day stayed. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say this was the best I could come up with. I had plans, because there's a magnificent Khmer temple not too far from here, probably about 5 minutes, 10 minutes by motorcycle, right in the centre of town. And I sort of had this image in my head that I was going to set up everything and perhaps get up early in the morning, because the temples generally, I think, face the east, so they get that beautiful morning sun, and a lot of them are painted gold and all that sort of stuff. So I thought, oh, great light. But, this morning, of course, I couldn't get out of bed early enough, and I'm kind of thinking that'll happen again tomorrow morning as well. So, this is the best I could come up with. This is the room that I've been staying in, and I've got my other little camera set up there so you can see what my view's like, and the little camera there will be picking up, it should be anyway, there's a little balcony here, little sort of patio area, so you can sit out there or do whatever, and there's another door into the room next to me, so it's really set up for families. There's only a few other guests here at the moment, but if you're travelling with a family and you've got kids, it doesn't really matter, does it? If you've got multiple people, more than you or more than a couple, this might really be an option. It's brand new, and it overlooks this lovely little pond. The only thing is you sort of look directly across into the other guests' rooms, so that a lot of the time you've got to have the blinds, the curtains drawn. But in situations like this, it's amazing. In the west, this room faces the west. This would be one of the better rooms, I'd say, because last night's sunset, I was hoping to catch it today, but I don't think we're getting one. But I've got footage from it. I'll show you that now. I'm just literally in the door. I finally got to this place. It's a lovely room, which I'll probably show you a little bit later, but you really need to see this. This is what I've been greeted with in the town of Treeton. Check this out. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? Look at those colours. Yeah, 700, around about 700 a night. This is the end of August. It's coming up to a public holiday next week, I think it is. So, the next few days, September 2nd. So I got a fairly good deal, I think. It looks pretty new. It's clean, large. I'm guessing it's probably a queen-size bed, I'd say. And the bathroom's awesome. There aren't many guests here, so the water pressure's awesome, and there's plenty of hot water. But it'd be interesting to see if more people stayed here, what the water pressure would be like and all that sort of stuff. And just outside my door, there's a massive swimming pool, which could be another factor to think about if you were going to stay here, particularly if it's busy with families. So yeah, 700K a night. I booked it on Agoda. I'll put a link there. I recommend it. The staff are super friendly. They're young, very young. They speak a little bit of English, and I speak a bit of Vietnamese, so we get by okay. Last night, one of them volunteered to be my seom, which is, you know, driver on the motorbike, and he took me into town. And I went to a Wan Yao that he recommended, and it was really good. It was, you know, 120,000, I think, for my dinner. I just had some gom chin hai sang, and it was good, and a couple of beers for about 130,000 dong. So, you know, what, $6 or $7. It was good. It was good just to wind down after a big day. So let me just go back a little bit. I don't know how long this video is going to go for. It's going to turn into this full-blown video. You know, these recaps were supposed to be only about a minute or 2 minutes long, but when you're trying to provide useful information and trying to be entertaining at the same time, you know, things drag on a little bit. So sorry about that. Look, I'll flick over to that camera a little bit so you can just look at the lovely fountain if you can see it, or the neighbour getting undressed over there. So yesterday, yeah, I had my first field mice for lunch. The first time I'd ever eaten these mice, and they happen to be what they call in Vietnam, when it's a specialty of a particular area, it's a đặc san of Sa Dec. And tell you what, didn't disappoint. Make sure you watch that video. I've got it just there. It's an absolute beauty. It tasted really great, so I highly recommend that. So in the end, my lunch wound up being 300,000 dong. That's about around about $15, I suppose. I spent 80 on fuel, the room 700, and the dinner, as I said last night, was about 130,000. So ended up pushing up over the million dong for the day, up to 1.2 million. My budget for this whole trip, so 4 nights, sort of 5 days, is only about 4 million. So, you know, I have to be fairly careful. And it's a bit of a mission for me to try and keep within that budget, you know, and also to share with you, you know, what things cost. And it's amazing how things add up pretty quickly. You know, a little bit of water there, a tank of fuel there, you know, unexpected, like today, for example. I had an amazing day today. It started off, I went to the market. Usually when I go to new towns, the best place in Vietnam to go first off is the local market. That's where it's all happening. That's where you're going to find breakfast, and probably the best breakfast, possibly the freshest breakfast, you know, and they're up early, they're open at sunup basically. So it's my sort of rule of thumb to hit the local market. And this market here, I've got to say, I'm thinking about, after my travels recently, I'm actually thinking about putting together the friendliest guide for markets in Vietnam, because it's very noticeable when you go to different towns and different, for example in Saigon, different districts, and you go regularly, those sort of things sort of become noticeable. You know, how friendly people are, or how, you know, how they treat you in general. I don't expect people to roll out the red carpet or anything, but it's nice just to get a smile occasionally, or a little bit of chit chat. I have a fan here. Hello. That's the second time this trip I've been called Con, which means sort of young child. I tell you what, this market here in Treeton, it would have to go down at the moment as clubhouse leader, as friendliest market in Vietnam. If you know one friendlier, if you've been here before, you'll know how friendly it is. If you can compare, or if you think you know a market that's probably the friendliest in Vietnam, let me know and I'll go and check it out. This one here, this one has to be close to it. And the really interesting thing about it too, apart from the food, and it's cheap, it's good, it's cheap, the coffee's a knockout. What did I pay? I've written it down here. A bowl of local noodles, which is called bun nuc leo. It's a đặc san of this particular area. It's very Khmer. It's noodles. It's a kind of a salty broth. I can't even remember if there was any meat in it, to be honest. I think it was a J. I think it was vegetarian. from memory. That's terrible. It didn't have fish in it. Perhaps it has some kind of fish broth in it, but it's very subtle. It was tasty, and it comes with a little bowl of chili salt that you can just sort of drop in there. So it's quite savoury, quite salty. Yeah, that only came to, including the coffee, about 25,000 dong for breakfast, so just over $1 for that. But the really cool thing about this market is it's a lot bigger than you think. Once you get into it, and they sell everything. It's like all of the markets around Vietnam, you know, you'll have a meat section, you know, the butchers will be there. People will be selling fruit, seafood along the way, clothes, toys, just about everything. And this particular market has a long walkway down it, and it's probably, I don't know, 300 metres long, 300 metres long, perhaps. And it's just amazing. And the really cool thing about this area, because of the different kinds of people that are from here. So you run into people who are Khmer, people who are Cham, people who are Vietnamese ethnicity, or perhaps have a Chinese background. It's a real mix of people, and I tell you what, they're just all so friendly. I couldn't believe it. I spent, I don't know, a couple of hours in the market today. So can I try? Maybe, okay. Just a little.
Thôi hộp mà nó ngon mới mình hộp đi, nè. Ăn cho mát. Ăn trong cu đi, ăn cu đi.
Huh? Eat this? No, but I have to. Oh, already. Do I peel?
Ăn luôn, khỏi lộn. Ngon. Quay dùm, cầm quay dùm. Canh nhanh nha. Rồi đúng rồi đó. Đó, đúng rồi. Lâu ngon.
Yeah, pretty. No, I have to say, yes, it's delicious because I'm surrounded in this market by all these ladies.
Bài làng. Nào đây?
Khoai lang.
Khoai lang. Ngọt không? Ngọt không?
No.
Ngọt không?
And they actually wanted to sit down and have a chat, and they were asking, you know, all the questions. Are you married? Do you have children? How old are you? How heavy are you? How tall are you? All those sorts of things. So I was, you know, really digging deep with my Vietnamese. But that was a blast. So you've got to definitely do that. Then I ended up. So I had the disaster in finding out that the ox races are not actually on. I'd planned to go to them today, and funny, no one seems to know when they are. They are only on once the Ministry of Culture decides, and then they notify the public. They give the public a month's notice before that takes place. So I've come about 300 kilometres, and I'm not going to achieve my aim for this trip. I mean, the trip's been fantastic anyway, and every post has been a winner, to use a racing parlance. So what I decided to do today was to just go around and explore the mountains nearby, and I ended up finding an amazing local community. They're all Khmer, so they speak Khmer between each other, and then we communicated in Vietnamese, and it was a whole lot of fun. And one lady offered to take me to show me where I could eat the local specialty, which is ga dat, I think it's called. But in the end, I wasn't keen on having it. I'll have it next time. I ended up just having something light because I didn't really need to eat anything. I was kind of being polite, to be honest, but it was just amazing. It was a great experience chatting to them. They were very curious about me. So, you know, this particular town, it is very charming. I'll be back very soon, very, very soon. I've really loved it. It deserves longer than 2 nights. You know, places like Hoi An, Da Nang, Hanoi, Ha Giang and Sapa up north, understandably they get all the love and, you know, they're amazing places. But this here has a special charm about it, and you know, it might be something worth thinking about doing, especially if you're a motorbike rider. If you're able to rent a motorcycle and drive and you're covered with your legally and with insurance and stuff like that, it's really worth thinking about doing. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. The ride is quite easy. It's very easy. You don't really need to be too skilled. As I said previously, you need to just have your wits about you, and that's about it. And you know, the worst part is that it takes so long to get anywhere. Tomorrow, I'm going to try and get up early and hit the road. I'd like to get to Joldop early because I've only got the one night there. I want to hit the local markets and stuff like that and check it out and get a good feel of the place before heading off back to Saigon. And then once I get home, I think I might do a wrap-up video of my trip in case you're thinking about doing something like it. You could probably, I mean, you can definitely rent buses and stuff like that and come on trips, but when you're driving a motorbike by yourself, you can do whatever you want. Like today, I ended up finding this amazing community. I've got their phone number. The next time I come back, I'm going to send them a message and say, hey, I'm coming, let's have a cup of tea or something like that, you know, because that's what you do. Have a cup of tea, maybe a couple of beers with the guys or something like that. So I've made a lot of new friends already. I've still got the 2 days to go, so let's see how many more I make.